Admiral Sarah Chen stood at the viewport of the ESS Nightingale, her weathered hands clasped behind her back as she watched the distant stars. The massive hospital ship hung in high orbit above Proxima, its sleek hull designed to slip through atmospheres that would tear lesser vessels apart. After 20 years of covert operations, the weight of secrecy had begun to wear on her. "Admiral," Lieutenant Rodriguez's voice broke through her contemplation. "We're picking up unusual readings from the Andromeda Array." Chen turned, her expression neutral despite the spike of concern that shot through her. The array was humanity's most advanced deep space monitoring system, hidden in plain sight as a series of defunct satellites scattered across the galaxy. "Show me." The holographic display sprang to life, filling the bridge with a three-dimensional map of the Orion Arm. Red markers pulsed ominously across multiple sectors, forming a pattern that made Chen's breath catch. "Confirm these readings," she ordered, though she already knew what they meant. She'd spent her entire career preparing for this moment. "Confirmed, Admiral." Multiple quantum signatures consistent with artificial stellar collapse. Someone's weaponizing black holes. Chen closed her eyes for a moment, letting the implications sink in. Humanity had discovered the technology to create artificial black holes decades ago, and immediately locked it away, horrified by its potential for destruction. They'd hoped other species would show similar restraint. That hope had just died. How many systems are threatened? Initial projections show 17 populated worlds in immediate danger. Most are pre-FTL civilizations. The Galactic Council has no presence in those sectors. Of course they didn't. The Council, in their wisdom, had declared those regions too unstable for colonization. Chen allowed herself a grim smile. Earth's children had learned long ago that instability bred resilience. Send word to the fleet. Implementation of Protocol Darkstar, effective immediately. Around her, the bridge crew straightened. They'd drilled for this countless times, but the reality carried a weight that no simulation could match. Humanity was about to step out of the shadows, ready or not. "What about the Council, Admiral?" Rodriguez asked. "This will violate every agreement we've made with them." Those agreements were based on their assumption that we were primitive savages barely capable of reaching our own moon. Chen's voice carried the steel of command. "We played that role because it suited our purposes. Now it's time to show them why Earth's harsh conditions created guardians, not barbarians." The Nightingale's engines hummed to life, their unique quantum resonance a testament to technology, born from surviving on a world that constantly tried to kill its inhabitants. Similar engines were spinning up across human space as the entire rescue fleet mobilized. "Send the alert to all human colonies and outposts," Chen ordered, "and prepare a message for the Council. Keep it simple. We know about the artificial singularities. Help is coming. Don't shoot." As her crew rushed to comply, Chen returned her gaze to the stars. Humanity had spent generations watching, waiting, and preparing. They'd built ships that could withstand forces that the Council deemed impossible. They'd developed technology that mixed quantum mechanics with biological systems in ways that would horrify their more advanced neighbors. All because Earth had taught them one undeniable truth: survival meant nothing if you couldn't help others survive too. "Message away," Rodriguez reported. "First response ships are already moving into position." Chen nodded. Across human space, vessels that had masqueraded as cargo ships and research stations were revealing their true nature. The Nightingale herself was transforming, its civilian outer hull retracting to expose the reinforced armor beneath. "Admiral," the sensor officer called out, "we're detecting Council ships moving to intercept. They're charging weapons." "Let them come," Chen said softly. "Broadcast on all frequencies. First contact Protocol 7. Show them our medical bays, our rescue equipment, our environmental systems. Let them see what we really are." The Council ships would be expecting warriors emerging from humanity's death world. Instead, they would find doctors, engineers, and rescue specialists. The most advanced emergency response force the galaxy had ever seen, hidden for generations on a planet everyone else feared to approach. Multiple quantum events detected. The sensor officer's voice rose with urgency. First artificial singularity forming in Sector 7. Chen straightened her uniform, a habit born from decades of service. Take us in, maximum safe speed. Today we show the galaxy why Earth's children never abandoned the stars. We just chose to watch from the shadows until we were needed. The Nightingale accelerated, its quantum drives pushing it to velocities that the Council had declared theoretically impossible. Behind it, hundreds of other human ships emerged from hiding, each one a testament to humanity's true legacy. Not the ability to survive Earth's harsh conditions, but the determination to use that strength to protect others. In the hours that followed, the galaxy would learn that they had been wrong about Earth. They hadn't been watching a primitive species struggle to survive on a death world. They had been watching Guardians prepare for the day when their strength would be needed. And that day had finally come. As the Nightingale approached the first threatened system, Chen sent one final message to her fleet. Remember your training. Remember why we built these ships. And most importantly, remember what Earth taught us. The strongest force in the universe isn't gravity or nuclear fusion. It's the will to reach out and help others, even when every instinct says to run away. The artificial singularity loomed ahead, its deadly influence already beginning to tear apart the nearby planet's atmosphere. But where others saw impossibility, Chen saw only another challenge to overcome. After all, that's what Earth's children did best. They took the impossible and turned it into another solved problem. The real first contact was about to begin. Not with weapons or threats, but with an outstretched hand of help from the species everyone had underestimated. The Deathworlders were coming, not to conquer, but to save. And the galaxy would never be the same. The Galactic Council's emergency chamber erupted in chaos as the holographic displays showed hundreds of ships appearing seemingly out of nowhere. High Chancellor Vexthor, their crystalline form shimmering with stress patterns, watched in disbelief as vessels larger than anything in the Council fleet emerged from what they had dismissed as abandoned space. Impossible, whispered First Speaker Call, their gas-form body condensing with anxiety. These readings cannot be correct. The energy outputs alone would tear any known ship apart. Before anyone could respond, a new hologram materialized in the center of the chamber. The figure was clearly human, wearing what appeared to be a simple dark uniform with silver trim. I am Admiral Sarah Chen of the Earth Space Service. We apologize for the deception, but there's no time for lengthy explanations. The artificial singularities will reach populated systems within hours. We're moving to evacuate. You cannot. Vexthor's crystal structure vibrated with alarm. Those systems are under Council protection. Any interference will save billions of lives. Chen interrupted calmly. Your ships can't get close enough to those singularities to attempt evacuation. Ours can. We're not asking permission, Chancellor. We're extending an invitation. Join us. Learn from us. Help us save lives. Or stay out of our way. The transmission ended, leaving the Council in stunned silence. On the displays, the human fleet was already moving with precision that spoke of long preparation. Ships that dwarfed Council vessels were accelerating at speeds that should have crushed their crews. Aboard the Nightingale, Chen watched the tactical display as her fleet split into predetermined groups. Status report on Singularity Alpha. Expanding at predicted rates, Lieutenant Rodriguez answered. Gravitational forces already exceeding Council ship tolerances. Local system has 3 inhabited planets, pre-FTL civilizations. Population approximately 4 billion. Chen nodded, her expression grim but determined. Deploy the Aegis arrays. Full spectrum containment. Outside the massive hospital ship, dozens of smaller vessels moved into formation. Each launched what appeared to be simple satellites, but as they activated, streams of quantum-entangled particles began creating a web of gravitational counterforce around the growing singularity. Admiral, the comm officer called out, we're receiving transmissions from the surface. They're detecting the gravitational changes. Open a channel to all frequencies, all languages we've documented. Time to introduce ourselves properly. Chen stood straighter as she addressed billions of scared beings who had no idea their world was in danger. People of the Proxima Centauri system, this is Admiral Chen of Earth. Your system is in danger from an artificial gravitational anomaly. We have the means to evacuate your population and contain the threat. Please remain calm and follow the instructions of our ground teams. We are here to help. As she spoke, smaller ships were already entering the atmosphere, their hulls glowing from friction that would have melted council vessels. Inside each ship, crews of humans worked with practiced efficiency, their bodies naturally adapted to handle gravitational stresses that would incapacitate most species. Council ships approaching, Admiral, Rodriguez reported. They're demanding we cease operations. Chen's expression didn't change. Show them our medical base. Let them see what we're actually doing here. The Nightingale's external cameras activated, transmitting images to the council vessels. Where they expected to find weapons, they saw massive medical facilities designed to handle any known species. Where they looked for invasion forces, they found rescue equipment and environmental systems more advanced than anything they possessed. Admiral, the sensor officer called out, Singularity Alpha's expansion rate is increasing. We have minutes, not hours. Begin mass evacuation protocols. All ships, execute emergency pattern Delta. Show them why we built these ships so big. The human fleet moved with shocking speed. Massive vessels descended through the atmosphere, their quantum shields protecting them from forces that should have torn them apart. Ground teams deployed in suits that let them operate in gravity that would crush most species. In the council chamber, the aliens watched in amazement as the humans demonstrated capabilities they had thought impossible. The primitive Deathworlders were casually handling conditions that their best ships couldn't approach. How? Vex Thor demanded of no one in particular. How did they develop this technology without us knowing? A new voice answered, a human observer they had all overlooked, thinking him just another diplomatic aide. You washed our cities, our visible infrastructure, our public space program, but you never looked where you thought you couldn't survive. The observer, Dr. James Martinez, stepped forward. While you monitored our surface activities, we built research stations in our ocean trenches, testing hulls against crushing pressures. While you watched our primitive rockets, we were perfecting quantum drives in the storms of Jupiter. Every hostile environment on Earth and in our solar system became a testing ground. On the screens, human ships were evacuating entire cities at once, their massive holds converted into environmental habitats that could sustain any known species. The Aegis arrays continued their work, creating a complex web of gravitational forces that was actually slowing the Singularity's expansion. Your gravity weapons, Martins continued, are based on technology you developed in what you consider normal conditions. We developed our countermeasures in gravity fields that you thought would kill us instantly. That's why we can stop them. Back on the Nightingale, Chen watched as the evacuation numbers climbed. 3 billion saved, 3.5, 4 billion. The ship's massive medical bays were operating at full capacity, treating thousands of different species for gravitational stress and evacuation trauma. Singularity containment at 60%, Rodriguez reported. Aegis arrays holding stable. Chen allowed herself a small smile. Send the data to the council ships. Let them see exactly how we're doing this. It's time they understood what Earth really taught us. The technical data streamed to the council vessels. Quantum mechanics merged with biological systems, gravitational engineering inspired by deep-sea creatures, medical techniques developed from studying extremophile organisms. Each innovation bore the mark of a species that had turned their harsh world's challenges into advantages. Final evacuation numbers coming in, Rodriguez announced. 4,200,000,000 souls saved. All populated areas cleared. Containment field at maximum strength. Chen nodded, then opened a channel to the council chamber. The immediate crisis is contained, but we've detected 12 more artificial singularities forming in populated systems. We can handle them, but we'll work better together. Your knowledge of these systems combined with our capabilities would save more lives." In the council chamber, Vexthor looked at the data streaming across their screens. The humans had just accomplished what their best scientists had declared impossible, and they had done it not to conquer or destroy, but to save lives. "Perhaps," the Chancellor said slowly, "we have much to learn from the Deathworlders." "No," Martins corrected gently. "You have much to learn from the Guardians. Earth didn't make us strong so we could dominate. It made us strong so we could protect. That's what we've been preparing for all these years." As if to emphasize his words, the Nightingale's massive form turned toward the next crisis point, its quantum drives powering up. Across human space, more ships were emerging from hiding, each one a testament to humanity's true purpose. The Guardians were no longer watching from the shadows. They were ready to show the galaxy why Earth's harsh lessons had created not conquerors, but protectors. And they were just getting started. The quantum alert sounded through every ship in the human fleet simultaneously. On the Nightingale's bridge, Admiral Chen's eyes narrowed as new data streamed across her displays. The artificial singularities weren't just weapons. They were part of something far worse. "Multiple quantum signatures detected," Rodriguez reported, his voice tight. "The singularities are networked. They're creating a cascading effect." Chen watched as the holographic display updated, showing a pattern that made her blood run cold. The artificial black holes weren't random attacks. They were nodes in a vast web of space-time distortion. "They're trying to trigger a vacuum decay event," she realized. "They're attempting to rewrite the fundamental constants of this sector of space." In the council chamber, the alien leaders received the same data with growing horror. Such an event would destroy everything in its path, Vexthor declared, their crystalline form clouded with fear. "No known force can stop vacuum decay once it begins." "No known force in normal space," Dr. Martins corrected. He interfaced with the chamber systems, bringing up new schematics. "But we didn't develop our technology in normal space." "Show them, Admiral." Chen nodded, transmitting data that the Council had never seen before. "While you were watching our surface activities, we were building research stations in dimensional pockets where the laws of physics barely held together. We learned to stabilize reality itself because we had to." The Nightingale's outer hull began to transform, panels shifting to reveal equipment that defied conventional understanding. Similar transformations were happening across the human fleet as ships revealed their true capabilities. "All ships, execute Protocol Omega," Chen ordered. "Deploy reality anchors, full spectrum stabilization." From each human vessel, devices that looked like crystalline satellites emerged. As they activated, they began generating fields that the Council's sensors couldn't even detect, ripples in the fabric of reality itself. "What we're about to attempt has never been tested outside controlled conditions," Chen admitted to both her crew and the watching council. "But Earth taught us something crucial. The impossible becomes possible when you have no other choice." The human fleet moved into a complex formation around the spreading network of singularities. Each ship positioned its reality anchors at precise coordinates, creating a lattice of stabilizing fields that began to counteract the vacuum decay. "Admiral," a new voice called out. First Speaker K'tal's gaseous form appeared on the Nightingale's bridge, transmitted from their ship. "Our sensors detect energy patterns we've never seen before. What exactly are you doing?" "We're rewriting the rewrite," Chen explained, her eyes fixed on the tactical displays. "Your ships can help. Your energy matrices, they're based on crystalline quantum technology, aren't they?" "Yes, but they can amplify our reality anchors. If you're willing to trust us, we can show you how." In the council chamber, Vexthor made a decision that would change galactic history. All council ships coordinate with the human vessels. Follow their instructions precisely. The next hours were a lesson in impossibility. Human ships moved through conditions that should have torn them apart, their crews operating in gravitational forces that would have killed most species instantly. Council vessels, guided by human expertise, found their crystalline technology adapting in ways they had never imagined possible. Reality anchor network at 70% coverage, Rodriguez reported. Council ships are successfully amplifying the field. But the enemy, whoever they were, wasn't done. New singularities began forming, targeting the human fleet directly. The Nightingale shuddered as gravitational forces tried to tear it apart. Hull stress exceeding design limits, engineering reported. We're approaching crush depth. Chen's expression remained calm. Deploy secondary systems. Show them why we built our ships to survive Earth's ocean trenches. The Nightingale's hull rippled, layers of exotic materials shifting and adapting like the scales of a deep-sea creature. Where conventional physics said the ship should implode, it instead thrived, drawing strength from the very forces trying to destroy it. Remarkable. Catal observed, their gaseous forms swirling with excitement. Your ships, they're not just resisting the forces, they're adapting to them. Of course they are, Martins explained from the council chamber. On Earth, we learned that survival isn't about being the strongest. It's about being the most adaptable. Every ship in our fleet can evolve its defenses in real time. The battle continued as the human fleet and their council allies fought against physics itself. Reality anchors stabilized space-time, while singularities tried to tear it apart. It was a war unlike anything the galaxy had seen before. New quantum signatures detected, Rodriguez called out suddenly. They're different. Admiral, I think we found them. The tactical display shifted, showing a cluster of ships unlike anything they'd seen before. Hidden in the chaos of warped spacetime, the architects of this attack were finally revealed. Those designs, Vexthor whispered, they're impossible. They're from the void between, Chen finished. The space between galaxies. We detected their signals years ago, but we couldn't prove they existed. Now we know. They've been testing reality's limits, looking for weaknesses. These attacks weren't just weapons. They were experiments. The enemy vessels, finally discovered, began a new attack. Not with singularities this time, but with weapons that targeted the fundamental forces holding matter together. Council ships began to disintegrate as their quantum matrices failed. But the human fleet was ready. Their adaptive hulls shifted again, incorporating the death of nearby matter into their defensive systems. Where council ships were failing, human vessels grew stronger, learning from each attack. All ships, execute pattern echo, Chen ordered. Show them what Earth's children can really do. The human fleet's formation changed, ships moving in ways that should have been impossible under the intense gravitational forces. Their reality anchors synchronized, creating not just a defensive network, but something entirely new. We're not just stopping the vacuum decay, Martinez explained to the astounded council. We're using it. Everything they throw at us becomes part of our defense. That's what Earth taught us. There's no such thing as an unsurvivable situation. There are only adaptations we haven't made yet. The battle reached its crescendo as human ingenuity met void-born power, where the enemy sought to unmake reality. Humanity's guardians reinforced it. Where ancient weapons threatened to tear space apart, human technology knit it back together. And through it all, the Council watched in amazement as their view of the universe changed forever. The species they had dismissed as primitive Deathworlders weren't just surviving impossible conditions. They were mastering them, using them, turning the very forces of universal destruction into tools of preservation. The Guardians were proving why Earth's harsh lessons had created not just survivors, but saviors. And the galaxy would never be the same. The Nightingale's medical bay had never been more crowded. Humans worked alongside Council medical staff, treating injuries that defied conventional physics. Dr. Elena Santos, the ship's chief medical officer, adjusted a quantum stabilizer as she treated a crystalline being whose structure had been partially unmade by the void weapons. The key is to think in terms of pattern preservation, she explained to her alien colleagues. Your bodies aren't just matter. They're information matrices. We can rebuild them by preserving the pattern, even if the original material is compromised. Admiral Chen watched from the doorway, noting how quickly the different species were learning to work together. Necessity, as ever, proved to be the greatest teacher. Admiral, Rodriguez called through the comm. The void ships are regrouping. They're changing their strategy. In the command center, now staffed by both human and council operators, the tactical display showed the enemy fleet adopting a new formation. The void between galaxies had shaped them into something that defied normal space physics, and their adaptability rivaled humanity's own. They're not just attacking reality. First Speaker K'tal observed, their gaseous forms swirling with concern. They're learning from our defenses, finding new ways to unmake existence. Chen nodded grimly. That's why we need to change the game. Dr. Martinez, show them Project Horizon. In the council chamber, Martinez activated a secure channel, revealing schematics that made even the most seasoned council scientists pause. While you watched our visible technology, he explained, we were developing something else entirely. We didn't just learn to survive in hostile conditions, we learned to thrive in them. The displays showed a network of facilities hidden in dimensional pockets throughout human space. Each one housed technology that merged quantum mechanics with biological adaptation in ways that the Council had never imagined possible. Your ships, Vexthor realized, their crystalline form brightening with understanding. They're not just machines. They're alive. In a way, Chen confirmed, we based them on Earth's extremophiles, organisms that survive in conditions that should be lethal. But we took it further. Our ships don't just survive impossible conditions, they evolve through them. As if to demonstrate, the Nightingale's hull rippled again, its structure incorporating data from the latest void attacks to create new defenses. Around it, other human vessels were doing the same, their adaptive technology learning and growing stronger with each encounter. But we've reached the limits of what we can do alone, Chen continued. Your crystalline quantum matrices, your gas-form phase technology, your energy-based computing, combined with our adaptive systems, we could create something entirely new. The council leaders exchanged looks. Centuries of tradition warned against sharing such fundamental technology. But centuries of tradition hadn't prepared them for enemies from between the galaxies. What are you proposing? K'tal asked. Chen's response was interrupted by new alarms. The void ships had launched another attack, but this time they weren't targeting ships or planets. They were targeting space itself. They're creating dead zones, Rodriguez reported, his voice tight. Areas where our reality's physics simply stop working. Through the viewports, they could see it, patches of space turning utterly black, not the black of space, but the black of nothingness. Reality itself was being erased, creating expanding zones of non-existence that threatened to devour everything in their path. This is what we've been preparing for, Chen declared. All ships, initiate protocol genesis. Council vessels, transmit your quantum matrices to our reality anchors. What followed was unprecedented in galactic history. Council ships linked their crystalline computers directly to human adaptive technology. Gas-form beings merged their phase shift capabilities with Earth-born evolutionary systems. Species that had never truly understood each other began working as one. The Nightingale transformed, its hull incorporating crystalline structures that pulsed with quantum energy. Council vessels, guided by human expertise, began developing their own adaptive capabilities. Where two technologies had been powerful, their combination proved revolutionary. Reality anchor network evolving. Rodriguez reported, wonder in his voice. A council's quantum matrices they're allowing us to not just stabilize space-time, but rewrite it. Chen watched as the combined fleet moved with new purpose. Human ships provided the adaptive framework while council vessels added layers of quantum manipulation that even Earth's advanced technology hadn't achieved. Together, They began not just fighting the void weapons, but reshaping space itself. Remarkable, Catal observed. Your biological adaptation principles, when applied to our quantum technology, we're not just preserving reality, we're strengthening it. In the medical bay, similar revelations were occurring. Dr. Santos found that Council medical technology, combined with human adaptive systems, could not just heal damage from the void weapons, but prevent it entirely. Different species learned to combine their unique perspectives, finding solutions that neither could have discovered alone. This is what Earth truly taught us, Martins explained to the Council. Not just how to survive, but how to adapt, to combine, to evolve. Every hostile environment forced us to think differently, to find new ways to survive. But our greatest achievement wasn't surviving Earth's challenges, it was learning to help others survive them too. The battle continued, but now the tide was turning. Where the void ships sought to unmake reality, the combined human council fleet created zones of enhanced stability. Where enemy weapons targeted fundamental forces, adaptive shields strengthened by quantum matrices rendered them harmless. They're retreating, Rodriguez announced. The void ships, they're falling back to the galactic edge. But Chen knew this wasn't the end. They'll be back, she said quietly. This was just their first test of our reality. We need to be ready. Vexthor's image appeared on the bridge, their crystalline form now incorporating elements of human adaptive technology. Perhaps that is why your species emerged from Earth, they suggested. Not just to survive the impossible, but to teach others how to survive it too. Chen looked around at her bridge, now staffed by humans working seamlessly alongside beings they had hidden from for generations. We spent so long watching from the shadows, preparing for a crisis we couldn't fully predict. But we never imagined that the real solution wouldn't be our technology or our adaptability. It would be this, Catal finished, understanding flowing through their gaseous form. Unity. Different species learning from each other, combining their strengths, evolving together. The Nightingale's adaptive hull hummed with new energy, quantum matrices merging with biological systems in ways that rewrote the possibilities of both. Throughout the ship, humans and aliens worked together, learning from each other, growing stronger together. They had faced the impossible and survived, not through strength alone, but through the power of combined adaptation. The Guardians had become teachers, and in teaching, had learned perhaps the most important lesson of all. The greatest evolution comes not from facing challenges alone, but from facing them together. 1 month after the void ship's retreat, the Galactic Council chamber had changed dramatically. Where once crystalline beings and gas forms kept careful distance from each other, now representatives of every species worked together at hybrid stations that adapted to each user's needs. At the center of it all, a holographic display showed Earth, the planet that everyone had misunderstood for so long. Admiral Chen stood before the assembled council, her uniform now bearing both human and council insignia. The void entities will return, she began without preamble. They've been testing the boundaries of our reality for longer than we realized. Earth wasn't just a death world, it was a warning. Dr. Martinez activated a new display, showing data that merged council quantum readings with human evolutionary analysis. The extreme conditions on Earth weren't natural, he explained. Our planet was altered, shaped by ancient forces to create a testing ground. Every challenge we faced, every impossible condition we survived, was preparation. The chamber erupted in discussion, different species communicating in ways that would have been impossible just weeks ago. The human adaptability that had merged with council technology now allowed for unprecedented understanding between life forms. The void entities, Vexthor spoke, their crystalline form now housing elements of human adaptive technology. They've done this before, haven't they? Created death worlds, watched what evolved. Chen nodded grimly. We found the evidence in our deep space readings. Other galaxies, other realities. Places where they successfully unmade existence. Earth was designed to create defenders, species capable of stopping them. But somewhere along the way, something unexpected happened. You became protectors instead of just survivors. Catal observed, their gaseous form interacting seamlessly with the chamber's new hybrid systems. Exactly, Martins confirmed. Earth's challenges could have made us bitter, turned us into conquerors. Instead, they taught us something crucial. The strongest adaptation isn't just surviving hardship, it's helping others survive too. The main display shifted, showing the combined fleet that now protected Council space. Human ships had evolved further, incorporating crystalline matrices and phase shift technology. Council vessels bore adaptive hulls and reality anchors. Each had become stronger by learning from the other. "We'd propose a new initiative," Chen announced. Project Guardian. Not just defensive technology, but a complete reimagining of how different species can work together. The displays showed plans for new ships, new stations, new ways of combining the strengths of every species. Human adaptability merged with Council quantum science, creating technology that could evolve faster than the void entities could unmake reality. But more importantly, Chen continued, we propose sharing what Earth truly taught us. Not just how to survive impossible conditions, but how to thrive in them. How to take challenges that should destroy us and turn them into opportunities to grow stronger. Dr. Santos, now head of a combined Human Council medical division, stepped forward. We're already seeing the results. Council species adapting to conditions they thought impossible. Human technology evolving in ways we never imagined. Together, we're becoming something entirely new. The evidence was all around them. Crystalline beings incorporating adaptive properties that let them survive in any environment. Gas-form entities developing solid-state interfaces that enhance their natural abilities. Humans learning to perceive quantum states that they once thought undetectable. The void entities believe they can unmake reality, Chen said, her voice firm. They see existence as something to be tested, broken, erased. But Earth taught us a different lesson. Reality isn't fixed. It's adaptive. And those who adapt together grow stronger than those who try to destroy. A new alarm sounded, not the harsh warning of before, but a clear tone that called for attention. The tactical display updated, showing readings from the galactic edge. They're returning, Rodriguez reported from his station, now merged with Council technology that enhanced his natural abilities. Multiple void signatures detected, larger fleet this time. But where once this news would have brought fear, now it brought resolution. The chamber filled with representatives of different species didn't panic or retreat. They acted together, each contributing their unique strengths to a unified response. All ships, initiate protocol unity, Chen ordered. The combined fleet moved with perfect coordination, human adaptability, and Council precision working as one. Reality anchors powered by quantum matrices created fields that didn't just stabilize space, they enhanced it. They thought Earth would create warriors, Martins said quietly, watching the fleet prepare. Instead, it created teachers. Every hostile condition, every deadly challenge, taught us not just to survive, but to help others survive. The void ships emerged from the darkness between galaxies, their impossible forms threatening to unmake reality itself. But this time, they found something unexpected. Not separate species fighting alone, but a unified force that had learned to adapt together. The Nightingale, now a hybrid of human and Council technology, led the defense fleet. Its hull rippled with crystalline patterns while quantum fields merged with biological adaptation systems. Every attack the void entities launched was met with evolution, every attempt to unmake reality countered by combined strength. This is Earth's true legacy, Chen declared as the battle began. Not the strength to survive alone, but the wisdom to understand that true survival means helping others survive too. Every harsh condition, every deadly challenge, every impossible situation, they all taught us the same lesson. Adaptation without cooperation is just another form of extinction. The combined fleet moved as one, their unified technology creating defenses that the void entities couldn't overcome. Where reality itself was threatened, human adaptability merged with council precision to create something stronger. Where the enemy sought to divide and destroy, they found species that had learned to evolve together. Hours later, as the void ships retreated in final defeat, the council chamber was quiet. The tactical displays showed not just a victory, but a transformation. Species that had once feared Earth now understood its true purpose. The Deathworld hadn't created destroyers, it had created guardians. So what now? Tal asked, their form merging seamlessly with the chamber's hybrid systems. Chen smiled, looking at the displays showing thousands of worlds, millions of species, all learning to work together in ways they never had before. Now we do what Earth really taught us to do. We adapt. We evolve. We help others do the same. Because that's what guardians do. We don't just survive the impossible. We help others survive it too. The Nightingale's adaptive hull hummed with new energy, quantum matrices and biological systems working in perfect harmony. Throughout council space, different species were learning from each other, growing stronger together. Earth's legacy wasn't just survival. It was showing the galaxy that the greatest evolution comes from working together. The Deathworld had created not warriors, but teachers. Not conquerors, but guardians. And as the combined fleet set course for new challenges, they carried with them the most important lesson Earth had taught. In a universe full of impossible challenges, the strongest adaptation is learning to face them together.